Okay, class, welcome to your third maths lesson of the week. Continuing, of course, with fractions and decimals. Now, this will be it. This will be the last bit of new learning for this unit to do with fractions and decimals. We will revisit fractions and decimals later in the year and learn some new things about fractions and decimals. But for now, this will be the last bit of new learning we do before a bit of revision in tomorrow's lesson, and then in the final lesson, your assessment. So, as always, please go and fill in these arithmetic questions on the correct sheet. Pause the video now. Okay, welcome back. I hope that you got on well with those. Let's have a quick reminder, as I do now, about revision using revision which ends with an answer which has a remainder. Now remember, a remainder is a bit that's less than a whole one. Okay, so for example, in this top question, we are in 14 divided by something, and it's given me the answer 4 remainder 2. So what have I divided 14 by to get the answer 4 remainder 2? Well done if you were able to identify that the answer is 3. So 14 divided by 3. So how many 3's going to 1? Well, it's none. How many with 1 left over? How many 3's going to 14? Well, the answer is 4. Because 3 times 4 is 12. How many left over? 2. So the answer there would be 4 remainder 2. Let's have a look at the second one. What divided by 5 is 10 remainder 3? So this is quite a tricky one. We've got to work backwards a little bit. So I know that 50 divided by 5 is 10. But then I've got 3 left over. So my answer, well done if you were able to identify, was 53. Last, I have 11 divided by 4. So again, you might want to have a look at the arrays here, or you might want to just put this as a bus stop method for short division. 11 divided by 4, how many 4's going to 1? It's none. How many 4's going to 11? Well, it goes in 2 whole times, doesn't it? 2 times 4 is 8, with 3 left over. So the answer is 2 remainder 3. We can see the relationship with the arrays here. I've got one whole group of 4, another group of 4. And how many have I got as a remainder? Well, I've got 3. 2 whole groups of 4 and remainder 3. As always, please pause now. Make sure you are confident with all of these star words. Sometimes in life we will express fractions and divisions in a similar way. Now, fractions can be thought of as a type of division. Let's have a look at what I mean by that. Okay, let's use our classic example of pizzas. If one pizza was shared between 4 people, how much would each person get? Well, I have one whole pizza and I'm dividing it by 4 people. One whole pizza divided by 4 people. And that is going to give me what answer, what fraction do I have? Well done if you were able to identify, and it's a quarter. I can see quarters over here, kind of 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, let's stop and think about this for a second. What is the relationship between these two things? I have 1 divided by 4, and I have 1 quarter. Well, of course, you should be able to identify that the number that I am starting with is the same as my numerator. and the divisor, the number I'm dividing by, is the same as my denominator. So let's have another think. Let's have a think about another pizza type question. I've got one pizza again, just one pizza to share, but this time I've invited lots of friends round and I need to divide it by 7 people. What fraction of a pizza is each person going to get? Well done if you were able to identify that the answer is 1/7. I have one whole pizza and I'm dividing it by 7 people. Sometimes you might see me write a fraction when I'm typing like this. I might write a 7 like that. This sign here is also the same as this vinculum here. It's just a different way of writing it out, typed rather than handwritten. So that is how we work out dividing one whole into many equal parts. That is something we should all be confident with already. This time though, I didn't just buy one pizza. This time I bought 4 pizzas. So this time I have 3 pizzas and I want to share them evenly between 4 people. So what calculation, what equation am I doing? Well, I've got 3 pizzas and I'm dividing them by 4 people. What do you think that could be represented as a fraction? Well done. If you were able to identify that I've got 3 wholes and I'm dividing them by 4 people to give the answer 3/4. Each person will get 3/4 of a pizza. And again, that works with absolutely any calculation whatsoever. If this time I bought 7 pizzas and I decided I wanted to divide them amongst 9 of my friends, each of my friends is going to get 7/9 of a pizza. Again, that bit is fairly straightforward. Now, what we need to do is realise that there's another way that we can represent these numbers. Yes, we have 3 divided by 4, which is equal to 3/4, but what is that as a decimal number? Now, I'm going to start by showing you using the short division bus stop method that we are all used to down here. Now, this is something a little bit new, so this might take us a little bit of getting used to, but once we can do this, it's going to make our calculating division much more straightforward. So, ordinarily, what I would do is I'd say, okay, well, how many times is 4 going to 3? Well, the answer's 0. I can't take a whole 4 out of 3. And how many have I got left over? Well, I've got 3. So my answer will be 0 remainder 3. Okay, that is absolutely fine if my answer is a remainder, but sometimes we might get a question asking us to answer this as a decimal. And here is how we do it. 4s into 3 I can't do. So what I have to start to do now is to add on some new place value columns. So here is how I do that. 3 is actually the same as 3.0. It's 3 and no tenths both times. This time, what I need to do is identify that 4 goes into 3 0 times. So my 3 then needs to be carried over. Now, how many times is 4 going to 30? Well done if you were able to identify that it goes in 7 whole times. 4 times 7 is 28, with 2 left over. Now, I need to write, because I'm carrying over to another column, I need to write another place value 0 there. How many times does 4 go into 20? Well, the answer is 5. So, ensuring that my decimal point is in the right place, I can see that 4 divided by 3 is 0.75. Now, that is the first time that we've come across fractions like that and division like that. So it's okay if you want to pause the video and have another watch of how I did that. I will continue to explain it a little bit more in the future as well. For now, we just need to start to see these relationships between these things. So we know that 3 divided by 4 is equal to 3 over 4, and we know that 3/4 is equal to 0.75. Here is having a look at it as well as some deans. So here we know that 3/4 is also equivalent to 75 hundredths, because I know that 1/4 is 25 hundredths. To get from here to here, I need to multiply by 25. And remembering, whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So this is an equivalent fraction to 3/4, and here is that represented as deans, and we can really clearly see when it's deans that 3/4, 75 is shaded in red and 25 are left white, and we can really clearly see the relationship. So carrying on with fractions and division then, let's have a read of this question. If 6 pizzas are shared equally between 5 people, what fraction does each person get? And then what should you do with the remaining pizza? Okay, so this time I have my 6 pizzas and I'm sharing them between 5 friends. So everyone can have 1 pizza each, can't they? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each person gets 1 whole pizza each. How much then of this pizza do they each get? There's 1 whole pizza remaining and 5 people to split it between. So they get 1 whole pizza each, and then they also get a 1/5 of a pizza as well. So each person gets 1 1/5 pizzas. Now, another way that you might want to work out is, okay, well, I have 6 pizzas, and they're going to be divided into my 5 friends. So I can identify that is 6 over 5, using what I learned earlier in the lesson. 6/5. 6/5 is equal to 1 1/5. Now, how do I know that? Well, I know that 5/5 is 1, and then there's 1/5 left over. Here's the opportunity for you to pause and have a go at the talk task, or of course you can do this as a thinking task if you are on your own. So pause the video now, please. Okay, welcome back. Got 2 questions then. Firstly, 4 pizzas are shared between 5 people. How much pizza does each person get? That's absolutely fine to answer these as a fraction. So I have 4 pizzas, and I'm dividing that in between 5 people, so my answer is 4/5. This time though, 4 very hungry people share 6 pizzas equally between them. So, how many pizzas do they get each? Well, I've got 6 pizzas that I'm dividing by 4 people. 6 pizzas I'm dividing in between 4 people. So my answer is 6/4. That is an improper fraction. As a mixed number, that would be 1 2/4 or 1 1/2 pizzas each. The last thing that we have to be aware of is a new bit of vocabulary, and that is this word here, recurring. Now, recurring means going on and 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 on forever and ever and ever. Okay? Now, sometimes we have a fraction which can't be neatly represented as a decimal number. Some fractions that we know can be represented evenly as a decimal number. For example, we have half, we know is equivalent to 0.5. And we know 1/4 is equal to 0.25. We know that 3/4 is equal to 0.75. And all of those things which we've talked about. And at the beginning of the week, I told you it's time for us to start trying to remember to commit those to our long-term memory. But some fractions don't equally go into a decimal. And let me show you why. And to do this, we're going to use that short division method, okay? So we are doing here, we've got one pizza and we're dividing it by 3 people, okay? So we've got one pizza divided by 3 people. How many times can 3 go into 1? Well, the answer is 0. So I need to put my decimal points in and add a place value holder in, and the 1 carries over. How many times does 3 go into 10? Well, it goes in 3 times. I need to put in my placeholder, and 3 times 3 is 9, and another one is 10. How many times does this 3 go into 10? Well, it goes in 3 times, place value holder in, and 1. How many times does 3 go into 10? Well, it goes in 3 times and 1 remainder. How many times does 3 go into 10? Well, it goes in 3 times with 1 remainder. And as you can see, that would just go on and on and on and on and on forever. Okay, so what we do if that is the case, if we are writing a recurring number, once we realize it's a recurring number, we just stop. Okay, so we usually do this to 2 decimal places. So I would write 0.33 recurring. And recurring, I draw as a little dot like that. It's not a degree sign. It's a little dot, a recurring sign. Okay. We will come into talking about that much more later in the year. That's just a little skip ahead for those of you who are curious about that. Okay, your independent task for this lesson is as follows. Again, 3 challenges for you to work through. The first 2, I must say, are very simple. Okay, it's just a case of you watching the video and working out how to write them. The first thing that we are doing is we are writing these division answers as a fraction. Okay, I don't need them as a decimal at all. I just need them as a fraction. So if I've got 1 whole divided by 4, what is that as a fraction? Or 1 divided by 3, 1 divided by 11. That you should be able to rattle through quite quickly. Now, the second challenge, again, if you have watched the video, this will be very easy for you. You are doing these division questions as fractions. Again, the last set of answers are the only ones that might cause you a bit of a challenge, but even these are not overly complicated. Firstly, you are going to write the answer as an improper fraction. So, for example, I know that 5 divided by 4 is 5 quarters, 5 over 4, like that. Then I just need to remember how to write that as a mixed number. Well, how do I write it as a mixed number? Well, I have to see how many whole 4s I can take out, which is 1. And I have 1 left over, 1 and a quarter. That is all you are doing for this task. Over to you.